Yeah, they've both been tremendous. I thought they played great defense. They've made great decisions out of the pick and roll or pick and pop.
The world of women's basketball has been steadily rising for decades, but it has only just started to gain the recognition it deserves. Caitlin Clark, a player who has enthralled audiences throughout the United States and abroad, has played a crucial role in this shift. Caitlin Clark, known for her remarkable abilities, exciting performances, and unmistakable personality, has single-handedly revolutionized the WNBA's reputation, attracting fans who may otherwise have neglected women's sports.
Best college athlete, women's sports presented by Athleta is Caitlin Clark.
Until recently, the WNBA failed to attract the same amount of public attention as its male counterpart, the NBA. Despite having some of the world's most gifted athletes, the league's games were often overlooked, and attendance could have been better at best.
And I think we were down 2 points at halftime, but then we started the third quarter really strong, and I think that kind of set the tone for the second half, and we didn't really look back, and then Arike got...
However, the arrival of Caitlin Clark has altered all of that. In only a few years, she has become not just the league's face, but also one of its most popular attractions. Clark has captivated basketball fans worldwide with her remarkable shooting range, ability to dominate the game, and ferocious competitive attitude. She is now the #1 player in the United States, a distinction that represents both her supremacy on and off the court.
I feel very lucky to be a part of this weekend, and I think Phoenix did a tremendous job of putting this weekend on. The fans were incredible. Obviously, the game was really good.
Caitlin Clark is not like any other player in the women's game. From the time she goes onto the court, it is evident that she boasts a distinct set of abilities that distinguishes her from her colleagues. Her shooting range is, without a doubt, the most impressive feature of her game. Clark can shoot from distances that most players would never contemplate, and she does it with incredible effectiveness. Her vast shooting range has been her hallmark, and it has changed what is possible in women's basketball.
All night tonight.
Are you talking about my high school experience?
Clark's game, however, includes more than simply long shots. What actually distinguishes her is the way she blends her shooting power with other abilities to create her a complete player.
Praise. She was absolutely right in saying that. We don't disagree, but that's utopia. Reality is it didn't happen to this level until Caitlin Clark showed up.
Her court vision is superb, enabling her to make precise passes and set up her teammates for scoring opportunities. She's also an excellent ball handler, capable of breaking down defenses with her dribble and generating chances for herself and others.
Here, Caitlin Clark just dancing with the basketball, going to her left.
Clark's game is reminiscent of several of the NBA's best players. Her shooting, passing, and ball handling abilities have earned her comparisons to NBA luminaries LeBron James, Jason Kidd, and Steve Nash. LeBron James is recognized for his flexibility and ability to dominate every facet of the game, and Clark has comparable characteristics. Despite being a guard, she has an outstanding ability to finish near the basket, similar to James.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to come in here and compete. We knew we needed to make the Olympic team, help them prepare for Paris, so that was our goal. We knew they were going to compete, so we competed too.
Her 62.7% shooting percentage from inside 5 feet of the basket is not only excellent, but also astounding, particularly for a player her stature. Her ability to score around the rim gives her continuous danger.
Yeah, she was huge. She never shies away from the moment. She made some huge shots for us, but she's just poised, very poised. You can see it in her face, like she wants to be in those moments, so I'm super proud of her.
Requiring defenses to keep a tight eye on her every move. Then there's the comparison to Jason Kidd, a player known for his rebounding and quick playmaking. Clark too excels in these fields. Her rebounding stats are excellent for a guard, and she's constantly eager to push the ball in transition, quickly converting defense into offense.
13,000 fans. Somebody else had 15. Everybody else had over 20,000 plus. You think that would happen if Caitlin Clark was on that team? You think that would happen if Angel Reese was on that team? But especially Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better.
Her ability to manage the pace of the game makes her an invaluable asset to her squad. Finally, there's the comparison to Steve Nash and Steph Curry, two of NBA history's finest shooters. Clark, like Nash, has a creative side to her game, often finding ways to make tough shots seem simple. Like Curry, she possesses an almost effortless shooting technique that enables her to score from wherever on the floor.
It's going to be, hard to lose, so we're just trying to get her the ball. So, proud of us. It was a lot of fun, and I thought we played really hard.
It's no surprise surprise that fans and experts alike have made these parallels. Caitlin Clark seems to combine the greatest aspects of these NBA icons into a spectacular package. Caitlin Clark's effect.
3 for the Sparks, 0 for 9, and Caitlin Clark says
stretches much beyond her performances. She has become a sensation that is propelling the WNBA forward in terms of viewership and attendance. The Caitlin Clark effect is real, and it's being felt around the league.
Box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership.
When Clark is on the court, everyone pays attention. Her games generate a lot of interest both from those in the bleachers and those watching at home. The stats speak for themselves. Anytime Clark performs, attendance increases dramatically. For example, the Atlanta Dream just established a record for the largest attendance at a WNBA game in Georgia history, thanks in large part to the presence of Caitlin Clark. The Caitlin Clark effect has become a formidable force in women's basketball, and other teams and players are eager to capitalize on it.
Got to play through it. That's what basketball's about at this level. So I thought we've been really physical. We've missed some bunnies around the rim, and so hopefully those fall in the fourth. But
this increasing interest has resulted in more games being aired nationally, providing the WNBA with a platform to reach a larger audience. Last year, the Indiana Fever had just one nationally broadcast game. This year, they had 36 of 40 games on national television. This demonstrates the WNBA's expanding popularity, with Caitlin Clark playing a significant role in that rise.
It would mean everything. That's like one of my dreams as a kid growing up. You always want to be an Olympic gold medalist.
Her presence on the court has made her a TV attraction, with millions tuning in to see her play.
Fans that love Caitlin's game, and Caitlin is having a phenomenal season, but what I want people to think about is
however, it is not only about TV ratings and attendance counts. The Caitlin Clark effect has had a direct influence on ticket sales and game advertising. When Clark is due to play, teams go all out to publicize the match. They make hype films, flood social media with postings, and even relocate games to bigger locations to meet greater demand.
she's always been a fan of mine, and I've always been a fan of hers, and she's just very down to earth, a great person. And
this proactive effort is paying off, as games starring Clark often sell out, leaving just standing room tickets available. Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA cannot be emphasized.
I'm happy for her, and it was fun. Like, they tried to sub me in for her. I'm like, no, I'm staying on the bench. This is fun to watch.
She is not just an excellent player, but also a marketing sensation, and her influence is helping to propel the league to new heights. The WNBA is still expanding, and with athletes like Clark leading the way, its prospects are brighter than ever.
Now, me as a fan of Caitlin Clark, I would have loved to see her on this international stage, but I understand that Team USA constructs their roster not necessarily on.
Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA extends beyond her marketability and the energy she brings to the game. She is also a great player, smashing records and establishing new standards for what is possible in the league.
Without all of you, so seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but
one of the most notable accomplishments in Clark's career so far has been establishing the rookie record for most assists in a season. With 9 assists in a recent game, she broke the old record and now has 232. This accomplishment is especially amazing, considering that Clark is just in her first season with the WNBA. Her ability to improve her teammates and generate scoring chances demonstrates her selflessness and in-depth grasp of the game.
we want to be back in the playoffs. That's been our goal since, the season started. We haven't been there since 2016, so.
Clark, however, is more than simply an assister. She is also on track to beat Alyssa Thomas' all-time WNBA assist record of 316, with 12 games remaining in the season.
We got to make a playoff push. We know our schedule is going to be difficult, and there's going to be teams fighting for.
Clark has a good chance of surpassing this number, establishing her position as one of the best playmakers in league history.
Thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here, and I've put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years, but like Coach Bluder and Kate said, there's still so much more fun to have, and we're not done.
In addition to her assist records, Clark has received attention for her scoring abilities. She has routinely been one of the league's top scorers, with some of the greatest shooting percentages in the WNBA. Her ability to score from any position on the floor, along with her efficiency, puts her a continuous danger to opposition defenses.
I think it's easy. These people are my best friends, and that's not for show. I seriously know, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back. And
Clark's accomplishments are great, but what makes them even more astounding is the circumstances in which they were accomplished. She is competing in a league that is more competitive than ever, with teams loaded with skill and coaches continuously developing new methods to slow her down.
It's going to give people an opportunity to see how good women's basketball is.
Despite these hurdles, Clark continues to compete at a very high level, and her records demonstrate her devotion, ability, and hard work. While Caitlin Clark's career has been full of plaudits and accomplishments, it has also been fraught with obstacles and scandals. Like any high-profile athlete, Clark has encountered criticism and struggle, and how she has handled these circumstances has only contributed to her fame.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful, starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID.
One of the most significant hurdles Clark has experienced is getting passed over for the U.S. national team. Despite her stellar success in the WNBA, she was not chosen to represent her country in international competition.
I have heard that rumor. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think they're selling pretty well.
Many fans and experts were surprised and disappointed by Clark's omission, believing that her skill and effect on the game made her an easy pick for the roster. Rather than becoming discouraged by this setback, Clark turned it into inspiration.
Obviously, my sophomore year, we had good crowds. The curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So
during a hiatus from the Olympic women's basketball squad, she rested and improved her skills. Since then, she has performed at an even better level, demonstrating that she is among the world's finest players. Her perseverance and tenacity in the face of hardship have endeared her to fans and made her a role model for young athletes worldwide.
But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league.
Clark has also been engaged in a few on-court disputes. In a recent game, she received a technical penalty for pounding the base of the hoop in desperation after a missed shot. The referee chastised her for disrespecting the game.
More than anything, like, they're my best friends off the court, and I think that's why we thrive on the court and have so much fun together. And more than anything, I know these girls are going to be my best friends for the rest of my life, and really that's all that matters to me. It doesn't.
But Clark claimed that her actions were motivated by her competitive personality and desire to do better. Surprisingly, she hailed the referee for the technical infraction, claiming that it inspired her to play harder and that her team improved as a result.
And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Sheryl Swoopes, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark is doing for the game. I know the Monica McNutts and others were getting very, very frustrated at all of the buzz that was going in her direction, not to hate on Caitlin Clark in any way, because I'm sure Monica McNutt does not feel that way. She just knows that there were people on the ground pounding the pavement that were doing so much for women's basketball.
This event demonstrates another part of Clark's personality, her boldness. She is open about her feelings on the court and pushes the limits to achieve wins.
No, Caitlin Clark. Respectfully, Sheryl Swoopes, you have any idea how that makes you?
While this has sometimes caused controversy, it has also made her one of the most captivating players to watch in the WNBA. Aside from the court, Clark has been outspoken about the WNBA's difficulties, notably in terms of pay. Like many other players in the league, she feels that WNBA compensation should be greater, particularly considering the league's expanding popularity and profitability. Clark has been a champion for WNBA players' improved wages and working conditions.
No, I mean, they're really good. They have plenty of talent on that team. It was the same, I think 4 years prior. I'm pretty sure the Team WNBA beat Team USA.
And her views on the subject have resonated with many fans and teammates. Caitlin Clark's impact extends beyond her on-court accomplishments. She is also making waves off the court, notably in sponsorships and marketing.
They were perfectly fine in the Olympics. I think if anything, it shows how good this league is. It shows how much talent is in this league and how you have to show up and prepare every single night.
Clark, one of the most recognizable women in the WNBA, has won many high-profile endorsement agreements, which have considerably increased her salary and visibility.
Down people's throats because she's a cash cow. Great, they're going to market the hell out of this white chick. That's whatever she is. She puts the ball in the hole.
Clark's endorsement partnerships include a broad variety of items and businesses, including sports gear and consumer goods. Her popularity stems not just from her basketball skills, but also from her personality and ability to interact with people.
Caitlin Clark can ball. She should have been on Team USA because you needed the marketing buzz. I didn't say she was better than all 12 players that were on the team instead of her. Even though when they almost lost to France, I was getting nervous. Diana Taurasi wasn't on the court. I said, you need somebody that can shoot.
She is seen as a relatable person, one who is enthusiastic about her sport and committed to her art.
It's going to be really nice. I mean, I've loved competing every single second, but it's going to be a great month for my body to, you know.
This has made her a popular spokeswoman for brands trying to attract a younger, more diversified audience. Clark's endorsement earnings are one of the most profitable elements of her career. According to current predictions, she may make millions of dollars in sponsorships alone as her fame and marketability improve. This is a big achievement for the WNBA, since it demonstrates that players in the league can reach financial success comparable to those in other sports.
But this is a non-sport.
So you don't think she has, like, literally put life into WNBA? Yeah, we're talking about it right now, but I don't think she's going anywhere.
Clark's financial effect goes beyond her profits. Her participation in the league has boosted WNBA franchise values and increased total income. More fans are attending games, more merchandise is being sold, and more organizations are investing in the NBA, all of which can be traced back to the Caitlin Clark effect.
You a WNBA player? Caitlin Clark gonna get you paid. I'd figure out a way to be her friend. Or her friend of me. That's what Angel Reese has done.
Caitlin Clark's success in the sponsorship business bodes well for the WNBA's future. It demonstrates that the league's players can be more than simply athletes. They can be cultural icons and influential figures in sports and beyond.
You want to continue to get more of those players into this league because there's so many fans at the college level and continue to bring those fans here. So
as the WNBA grows, other players are sure to follow in Clark's footsteps, landing hefty contracts and helping to propel the league to new heights. Caitlin Clark's climb to the top of the WNBA has been nothing short of incredible.
I think people stepped up when their number was called and they were put into the game, and I thought we came out and started the second half well and really just found a way and dug deep and made plays when we needed to.
She has swiftly established herself as one of the most significant players in the game. Thanks to her unique skill set and effect on the league's popularity, her accomplishments on the court, along with her marketability off the court, have transformed her into a force to be reckoned with, and her future in the league seems to be very promising.
Messing with her, I always mess around with her, but then I told her, you know, that record's for you, but maybe we'll break it at one point. Who knows?
So while we celebrate Caitlin Clark being named the #1 player in the United States, let us also look forward to the many more triumphs that are likely to follow. The WNBA is on the rise, and with stars like Clark leading the way, the future of women's basketball has never looked better.
Yeah, that's just not a basketball play, but, you know, got to play through it. That's what basketball's about at this level, so I thought we've been really physical. We've missed some bunnies. Definitely, we're not coming here to just shoot around and, you know, waste time. Like, we're here to work and get better and compete hard, and our practice boys have done a great job, too.
Great for the state champion in high school for golf.
She's just tremendous. She's really good, and sky's the limit for her. I think she's only going to get better and better, so I'm super proud of her.
Against her today.
I'm just happy we won. It was cool to play against her, and obviously a really great game. And like you said, this crowd was absolutely incredible.
Awesome, Caitlin. Congratulations. Thanks.
Ever to new heights of success, perhaps converting them into league powerhouses.
I love her brother too. He's awesome. Obviously a Pacer too. We were in a little commercial together, so I love their family. They're just awesome people.
Join us as we explore Cheryl Miller's history, uncovering the tales and secrets surrounding this USC legend.
I was 13 years old. And there was an article in newspaper, she's 13 and she can play.
And imagining what the future holds for Caitlin Clark's Indiana Fever under Miller's tutelage. Cheryl Miller's rise to basketball stardom started at Riverside Polytechnic High School, where she immediately established herself as a prodigy.
My dad and my mom did a great job. Thank God my mom was a registered nurse, because it came in handy.
In one memorable game, she scored an unbelievable 105 points, propelling her team to an unprecedented 4-year record of 132, including an 84-game winning streak and 4 consecutive CIF titles.
So that's the fun part. I found out about this less than a week ago.
Her brilliance was evident, and she became the first high school player, male or female, to be chosen a Parade All-American 4 years in a row. In 1981, she was named the National High School Scholar Athlete of the Year, setting state records for points scored in a single season and career.
It was, if you're gonna do something in life, do it passionately. You know, and some people may not be like that, but
Her supremacy continued at USC, where Miller cemented her place among the best basketball players of all time.
my life is completed full circle, coming full circle, and getting the opportunity.
Trojan, she led the team to a 112-20 overall record over 4 seasons, winning back-to-back national titles in 1983 and 1984. In both championship campaigns, she was selected NCAA Tournament MVP, demonstrating her ability to execute under pressure and lead her team to victory. Miller's accomplishments did not end there.
Just for women. Just for women. And it's not just a facility for women, it's a facility that is hands down better than probably, and I'm not inflating this number.
She was also named Naismith Player of the Year 3 times and won the Wade Trophy once. She was a 4-time Kodak All-American who departed USC with virtually all of the school's records.
Well, that was the wonderful thing and blessing for me with my two older brothers is they were able to buffer my dad a little bit, like back off. Otherwise, she's going to quit.
Including career scoring, scoring average, career rebounds, total field goals, and free throws. Her outstanding performances won her the distinction of ESPN Female Athlete of the Year in 1984 to 85, as well as Player of the Decade from the Women's Basketball Coaches Association.
Probably 98% of the NBA do not have a practice facility like that, with all the bells and whistles, and the bells and whistles that make sense.
When the Pac-12 Conference announced its All-Century team in 2016, Cheryl Miller was appropriately voted Pac-12 Player of the Century, a fitting homage to her immense effect on the sport. Her stellar career has included entry into the USC Hall of Fame in 1995 and the Pac-12 Conference Hall of Honor in 2018. Even USC retired her number 31 jersey in 2006, guaranteeing that her legacy will be remembered for future years.
And if you sow a character, you reap a destiny. Now, I'm certainly not saying that I was destined for the Hall of Fame.
Miller's foreign career was similarly successful.
They know, and we certainly have come a long way. And I'm not about gouging, but it's a long time overdue.
She led the USA squad to gold medals in the 1984 Olympics, the 1983 Pan American Games, and the 1986 Goodwill Games, where she scored the most points for each team. These achievements solidified her reputation as a worldwide basketball superstar. With such a distinguished career, some may be surprised to discover that Cheryl Miller never competed in the WNBA. The professional league did not exist when she graduated from USC in 1986.
But we never knew that. We never knew that side because my dad was like, I'm in the military and everything, but he would do that whole thing.
And knee problems ended her playing career before the WNBA was established in 1996.
I think it's hard sometimes looking at the dynamics of, you know, a dad and a mom. If somebody's got to end up.
Miller, however, continued to contribute to her favorite game. She moved into coaching, taking over at USC, the Phoenix Mercury, and Langston University. Her ability to nurture and develop new talent, which she developed throughout her playing days, was a defining feature of her coaching career.
On this planet wouldn't want to be in this situation. And now my job is to stand back, roll out the ball.
Miller spent 17 years as a television reporter and commentator for TNT.
And we're going to continue to get better and better. All you have to do is look at, you know, college basketball and what's coming next, the next wave.
Before returning to coaching, Miller's impact goes well beyond her accomplishments. She cleared the path for future generations of female basketball players, notably Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever's emerging star.
WNBA All-Star Game. You may recognize this woman beside me, Cheryl Miller. Reggie Miller's much more successful sister, isn't that right?
Underpaid Miller.
Caitlin Clark, one of the WNBA's most promising young players, has voiced her respect for Miller, stating, "Obviously, Cheryl is one of the pioneers of our game and an awesome individual."
My mindset is their mindset. So it's all fun and games until the ball is tossed up.
It's okay. It's okay. She can play.
Yeah. She would cut it. She did.
So can Angel Reese.
She had 28 tonight. She had 31. She had 31 the other night, huh?
31 the other night.
Yeah.
And
certain professional athletes can attract an audience not just because of their abilities, but also because of the drama that frequently surrounds them. Caitlin Clark is one such player. Clark, a rookie phenom in the WNBA, has broken records and made headlines for her remarkable performances. However, with such achievement comes scrutiny, and in the case of Clark, not only the media has taken notice, fellow athletes have been paying notice, and not everything has been pleasant. Diamond DeShields, a seasoned player, was embroiled in a heated fight with Clark on the floor. The incident created a firestorm of controversy, not only concerning the act itself, but also about the bigger concerns confronting women in sports.
Clark, a little bit of daylight.
Shannon Sharpe, an NFL Hall of Famer turned sports pundit, has been vociferous in his support for Caitlin Clark. Sharpe, known for his uncompromising and candid opinions, did not mince words while describing the DeShields-Clark affair. Sharpe's commentary highlighted the double standards and problems that female athletes face, utilizing this event as a microcosm for bigger concerns in women's sports. But what actually happened with DeShields and Clark? And why has it sparked such strong reactions from both fans and commentators? This essay will go over the specifics of the altercation, Sharpe's analysis, and the broader consequences for women's basketball and sports in general. Before getting into the incident, it's vital to understand why Caitlin Clark has become such a prominent character in the WNBA. Clark was regarded as a once-in-a-generation talent during her time at the University of Iowa. Her ability to score from wherever on the court, paired with her court vision and basketball IQ, set her apart long before she entered the professional league. Clark was already well known among basketball enthusiasts when she signed with the Indiana Fever.
Only 3 points in the second half. She had 13 in the first half, but has picked up a triple-double here today and gets the end one.
Clark stands out not only for her brilliance, but also for her ability to affect the game around her. Clark soon established herself as the main center of the Fever's offense, leading the team in points and assists while also drawing attention from defenses across the league. However, it wasn't only her on-court performance that drew attention. Clark's WNBA debut resulted in a large increase in ticket sales, merchandising purchases, and overall league interest. The Fever, who had struggled in recent years, suddenly found themselves playing in front of sold-out crowds eager to see Clark perform. This kind of influence is remarkable for any player, let alone a rookie, but it demonstrates Clark's star power.
Everything but the bucket that time from Phoenix.
Good job by Cunningham to quickly get on Clark.
Clark sinks this.
Clark's on-court accomplishments are nothing short of impressive. During her debut season, she averaged 24.6 points, 5 rebounds, and 9 assists. These stats not only made her one of the league's best players, but also put her in exclusive company. Clark became the first rookie in WNBA history to record over 600 points and 250 assists in a single season. These statistics are Hall of Fame worthy, but Clark's biography is still being told. Clark's game is remarkable for its consistency. She has a unique ability to take over games by scoring freely and involving her teammates in the offense. Her back-to-back performances, in which she scored more than 25 points, assisted more than 10 times, and made more than 5 three-pointers, were unparalleled. No other rookie in either the WNBA or the NBA had ever achieved such a feat. This level of dominance on the floor has led many to feel Clark is more than simply a Rookie of the Year candidate. He is a future Hall of Famer.
The real deal. Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41%.
Caitlin Clark's on-court success has influenced the public view of women's basketball. Women's sports have traditionally gotten less attention, respect, and financial backing than men's sports. However, players like Clark are working to change that. Her effect goes beyond the basketball floor. Clark is challenging outmoded beliefs about women's sports with each game she plays, demonstrating that female players can draw crowds, sell jerseys, and provide performances on par with men's competitors. One of Clark's most major effects has been on ticket sales. The Indiana Fever, a team that had battled to fill seats in previous years, suddenly found themselves playing in front of nearly full houses. By the end of the season, the Fever is expected to draw almost 500,000 fans, which is a franchise record. WNBA attendance grew by 20% across the league, indicating that Clark's effect is felt not only in Indiana, but all over the country.
range, leading the league in assists. Her last 5 games, Shannon, 22.5 points per game on 46% shooting, 11 points.
Legendary women's basketball personalities such as Nancy Lieberman have noticed Clark's influence. Lieberman, a Hall of Famer herself, described Clark's contributions to the game as generational, emphasizing that her impact stretches beyond her accomplishments. Clark is paving the way for future generations of female athletes, demonstrating that it is possible to achieve success and influence in the world of professional athletics. Caitlin Clark's inaugural season has been full of praises and admiration. Still, it has not been without controversy, and one of the season's most talked about moments occurred during a game between the Indiana Fever and the Dallas Wings when Diamond DeShields, a veteran Wings player, got into a heated altercation with Clark. The incident occurred late in the game when DeShields committed a hard foul on Clark while she drove to the basket. Clark's teammates and supporters were outraged by the foul, which they saw as too aggressive and potentially hazardous.
Season rookie mark for assists, Stephen A.
She's the real deal. Listen, I believed in her from...
The altercation did not finish with the foul. Clark lay on the floor as DeShields loomed over her, presumably tormenting her. The two exchanged words, and tensions swiftly rose. Both teams' players had to be separated, and the umpires handed technical fouls to DeShields and Clark. However, the harm was already done. The event rapidly became the buzz of the league, with fans and experts arguing whether DeShields' actions were appropriate for the game or went too far.
Don't get mad now. Oh, man, Caitlin let that. Man, Ocho, I was watching it. Man, she was coming up the picks, let the threes go.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharpe, a former NFL player and current sports analyst, was one of the most vociferous commentators on the incident. Sharpe is noted for his outspoken and frequently provocative commentary. Sharpe was candid about the DeShields-Clark affair. He accused the media of minimizing the seriousness of the incident and emphasized the double standards that female athletes endure in comparison to their male counterparts. Sharpe's main criticism was that if the identical situation had occurred in the NBA, it would have been reported as a huge event. He contended that the media tends to downplay violence and confrontation in women's sports, labeling it as unsportsmanlike or unladylike, but identical activities by male players are hailed as indicators of enthusiasm and drive. According to Sharpe, this double standard is part of a bigger issue in how society perceives female athletes.
There's a lot of women that was on ESPN that had a lot to say earlier about this. They gone quiet now.
You say they quiet?
Sharpe's remark struck a chord with many fans, who had also noted the discrepancy in how the media handled the situation. While some newspapers portrayed DeShields as the attacker and Clark as the victim, others ignored the event entirely, emphasizing Clark's performance in the game. Sharpe's analysis underlined the need for a larger discussion regarding how female athletes are portrayed in the media and society. Despite the backlash from the incident with DeShields, Caitlin Clark has remained focused on her game. Many would say that the altercation has only strengthened her drive to achieve. Clark has continued to produce great numbers, propelling the Indiana Fever to one of their most successful seasons in recent memory. Her tenacity in the face of hardship is one of the qualities that have won her admirers over and propelled her to the league's top ranks.
13 assists for Clark. Boston has 15 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists herself. Clark, a bomb is good!
While unfortunate, the event with DeShields has become a watershed moment in Clark's career. It has forced her to deal with the pressures of celebrity, criticism, and conflict simultaneously. How she responds to these hurdles will most likely determine the direction of her career. Will she rise above the noise and continue to set records, or will the weight of expectations and scrutiny become too much to bear? So far, all evidence is that Clark will emerge from this stronger than ever. Shannon Sharpe's comments on the DeShields-Clark affair went beyond simply criticizing the media. He also issued a call to action to fans, commentators, and athletes. Sharpe stated that it is past time to start treating female athletes with the respect they deserve, not only on the court, but also in how they are covered and discussed in the media. He emphasized that women's sports are frequently overlooked in favor of men's, despite the fact that the level of competition is comparable.
Stephen A. Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook.
Let her.
It got so.
Sharp also emphasized the need for increased financial support for female athletes. While stars like Clark are bringing more attention to women's sports, the economic differences between the WNBA and NBA remain significant. Sharp feels that if female athletes continue to push the envelope and question the current quo, the future of women's sports will witness a shift in both respect and reward. He envisions a future where female athletes receive the same level of attention and financial reward as their male counterparts.
Tina Charles just had 2 points against Indiana in their last possession, but Caitlin Clark, for a second. Yeah, take a look here.
The altercation between Diamond DeShields and Caitlin Clark was more than simply a heated competition. It sparked a broader discussion about women's sports. Shannon Sharp's condemnation of the media's coverage of the incident, as well as his appeal for greater respect and acknowledgement for female athletes, resonated with many fans and analysts. Caitlin Clark's effect will be noticed on and off the court as she rises through the WNBA ranks. She is more than just a rookie phenomenon. She represents the changing face of women's athletics. The situation with DeShields may have been difficult, but Clark's answer demonstrates that she is prepared to face whatever challenges come her way. And, as Sharp pointed out, the sports world and the media that covers it should take notice. The anticipation was palpable as fans to see the Indiana Fever take on the Dallas Wings on a warm Sunday afternoon. Both teams were recognized for their fast-paced offensive play, and with the Fever including Caitlin Clark, one of the most electric rookies in WNBA history, everyone anticipated a great game. What no one expected was Caitlin to not only demonstrate her abilities, but also smash records and quiet her naysayers. Her performance would rock the WNBA to its core, putting her most outspoken adversaries at a loss for words.
High-flying, high-scoring affairs between these two teams. The team that has won in the matchup this year has scored into triple digits every...
The critics, Caitlin's so-called bullies, had long dismissed her abilities, asking whether her collegiate success could transfer to the WNBA. They thought she was too dazzling, too arrogant, and unprepared for the physical demands of professional play. But on this particular Sunday, Caitlin Clark would do something that would make her naysayers finally pay attention. She would burst through the clamor, rewriting WNBA history and demonstrating why she is one of the league's most dominant players.
A triple-double back on Friday after they took one away at the end of the game. Smith.
Both the Fever and the Wings are known for their fast-paced play, which keeps their games entertaining from the start. As the WNBA's second and third fastest teams, their high-tempo play was anticipated to have spectators on the edge of their seats. For Caitlin Clark, this was the ideal setting. Caitlin, a transition specialist, is noted for pushing the tempo and capitalizing on early attacking chances. Today's contest looked suited to her abilities.
But we've seen the feistiness of Lexi Hall since the Olympic break.
McCowan easily wins the tip, and Sabally knocks down a three.
The game began with Nalissa Smith scoring the opening points for Indiana with a nice driving layup assisted by Kelsey Mitchell. This early goal energized the Fever's home fans, but Dallas quickly responded. Natasha Howard, a player known for utilizing her toughness to dominate the boards, collected offensive rebounds with ease, keeping Indiana's defense on its toes. Dallas took the lead in an instant thanks to a crisp three-pointer from Kalani Brown.
Just a little bit less at fourth.
Oh, looking inside for Smith on the shot fake and muscles her way through.
In the meantime, Caitlin was struggling to establish her customary groove. The Wings were persistent in their defense, laying hard screens and committing fouls that seemed to tire her out. Caitlin was knocked down early in the game by what appeared to be one of the worst fouls of the season. Despite the physical hurdles, she stayed focused. Her naysayers may have believed that such physicality would shatter her spirit, but Caitlin Clark was designed for situations like these.
Wale feeding it back to Howard from the mid-range. Howard can't connect. There's McCowan with another offensive rebound. It's already Dallas's...
As the quarter went on, the Wings' advantage grew to 11 points, owing mostly to their outside shooting. Satou Sabally made several critical shots, including a second-chance three-pointer that had Indiana scrambling. The Fever seemed to have entered the game sleeping, and Dallas was ready to take advantage of their slumber. But Kelsey, Mitchell was not about to let her squad slip into the background. She responded with a key three-pointer, cutting Dallas's advantage and giving the Fever a much-needed boost of adrenaline. Caitlin soon entered the battle, sinking her first three of the night and putting the Fever within reach. Even the Fever's bench stepped up, with players like Lexi Hull and Erica Wheeler scoring crucial baskets to help the Fever conclude the quarter, down by just 6 points.
Shooting 67% from three.
Clark on a step back, buries a three.
As the second quarter started, both sides battled to get into a groove, swapping long-range misses. It was a stressful few minutes, with each possession having tremendous weight. The Fever, who had shot an outstanding 50% from the floor in the first quarter, were now encountering defensive breakdowns that enabled Dallas to continue scoring. Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, was not going to give up on this game. Caitlin broke her scoring drought with a three-pointer on a fast off-ball play that left her wide open. Her presence on the floor was evident, forcing Dallas defenders to close out from long range, frightened of her reach. She followed up with a jaw-dropping three-point play, earning a foul on a catch-and-shoot from more than 30 feet out. It was the kind of play that made her critics, her bullies, struggle to justify her power. The tide was turning in Indiana's favor, owing primarily to Caitlin's ability to lead the charge. She drove to the basket with such vigor that defenders were left powerless, weaving past them as if they were stationary. She pushed the Fever back into the game with another huge three-pointer. It was one of her characteristic takeovers, a burst of brilliance that her opponents could do nothing to counter. Dallas, seeing their momentum eroding, took a break to regroup. Despite the break in play, they failed to restrain Caitlin. She was a lady on a mission, aiming to establish her place among the WNBA's finest. By the conclusion of the half, Caitlin had practically single-handedly narrowed the difference, leaving Indiana down by only 2 points.
No one does from 2-point range.
Mitchell sidesteps Agumbawale and buries a three.
Coming out of halftime, the Fever had clearly found their stride. Kelsey Mitchell continued to be a scoring machine, converting off-ball cuts into easy buckets and pounding the wings from both mid-range and beyond the arc. She was the ideal match for Caitlin's aggressive approach, and the two guards' connection grew with each game.
So Dallas has rattled off 7 in a row. Mitchell trying to answer, gets to the foul line and connects.
I could watch.
On the opposite end, Natasha Howard continued to dominate for Dallas, scoring seemingly at whim with her lethal pull-up jumper. But regardless of how many points Dallas scored, Indiana found a way to reply. Caitlin Clark was the driving force behind the Fever's rebirth. Midway through the third quarter, Caitlin made history. With a step-back shot from just beyond the three-point line, she became the WNBA's leading scorer in her debut season. The audience exploded, well aware of the gravity of the situation. It was a record that had stood for years, and now belonged to Caitlin.
Clark shaking off Sheldon, hits a deep two.
The game, however, was far from finished. Dallas was not going down without a fight, and their players kept challenging Indiana's defense at every opportunity. Kalani Brown, in particular, was a force in the paint, utilizing her size to grab offensive rebounds and score easy points. The Fever, who had struggled with the inside defense during the season, was having trouble stopping her. As the quarter came to an end, Caitlin continued to gain command of the game. She was persistent, driving to the hoop and getting fouls on every play. Even when confronted with double teams, she found ways to score, whether by generating her shot or providing assists to her teammates. By the conclusion of the third quarter, Indiana had taken a 1-point lead. It was a fragile advantage, but for the first time in the game, the Fever had control.
Agumbawale hits a three.
Way too quiet for Arike, right? She's got to come alive.
In the fourth quarter, she started with both sides involved in a close struggle. Every possession seemed like a make-or-break moment, and neither side was eager to concede. Caitlin, on the other hand, was about to enter her most difficult period. When the game is on the line, Caitlin Clark transforms into a new player, one capable of outperforming everyone else on the court. Caitlin scored first in the fourth quarter with a driving layup, utilizing her muscle to force her way past opponents. Moments later, she extended Indiana's advantage with another layup, this time using her speed to leave her opponent in the dust. Caitlin was determined not to let this game slide through her fingers.
Clark hangs and finishes.
I would go.
The Wings, however, relied on their toughness and transition offense to stay up with Indiana. Tiara Mao controlled the paint, making easy shots and keeping Dallas within striking distance. However, Caitlin had a response for every point scored by the Wings. She drained another three-pointer, this time with a defender right in her face, increasing Indiana's advantage to 6 points with just a few minutes remaining in the contest. As the time ran down, it became clear that Caitlin was unstoppable. She often burst through Dallas's defense, either driving to the basket or shooting from long range. Her bullies had long criticized her for being too showy and depending too much on her shooting, but on this night, she hushed them all.
Screen. Clark launches, hits a three!
Dallas fought hard, with Natasha Howard and Satu Sabali hitting important baskets to keep the game close. But, with less than a minute remaining, Caitlin sank another long-range three, topping her career best of 31 points and essentially securing Indiana's victory. The Wings, trying to make a comeback, started fouling Caitlin in order to halt the time, but Caitlin remained cool under pressure, sinking her free throws with ease. Dallas had one more opportunity to tie in the dying seconds of the game, but a missed three-pointer from the corner destroyed their chances. Caitlin not only led her team to victory, but she also broke the WNBA rookie scoring record in the process. As the siren rang, her teammates raced to celebrate, knowing they had just seen something extraordinary.
Into a ball screen.
Clark. Yes!
Caitlin's performance in this game was nothing short of historical. Not only did she break the scoring mark, but she also guided her side to a key win in a closely fought battle. There was nothing more she could say to her bullies who had challenged her capacity to achieve professionally. Caitlin has proved once and for all that she belonged in the WNBA and was more than simply a star. She was a record breaker.
This fever advantage. Mitchell, catch and shoot. Buries a three!
Caitlin would continue to build on her success throughout the season, guiding Indiana to the playoffs and establishing herself as one of the league's most dynamic players. Her naysayers, who had earlier been loud and persistent, had been hushed, leaving nothing but appreciation for a player who had surmounted every challenge put her way.
Well, right now, it's a one-point win for Indiana. They counted it on the floor. They'll go and check, but the bottom line is Indiana.
Caitlin Clark had shattered the WNBA, not literally, but by smashing expectations, records, and narratives created around her. She'd come, and the league would never be the same again. The WNBA has produced a plethora of tremendous talent throughout the years, with legends shaping the game in ways that will be remembered for centuries. From powerful post players to explosive guards, the league has produced some of the most talented basketball players in history. Among these legends, Sheryl Swoopes and Cynthia Cooper stand out not only for their achievements, but also for their contributions to the league's growth and visibility. However, in recent years, a brewing feud between these two iconic figures has drawn attention to a larger issue in the WNBA. The changing dynamics between veterans and rising stars, particularly in the case of Caitlin Clark, the young phenom who has shaken up the league in unprecedented ways.
This isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that...
Before delving into the core of Swoopes and Cooper's disagreement, it's critical to understand the circumstances that have led to this friction. Caitlin Clark, a WNBA rookie, has taken the league by storm. Her on-court performance has been nothing short of remarkable, with record-breaking statistics that have astounded both fans and pundits. Clark has broken over 60 records in her first season alone, which is nearly unheard of for a player at this stage of their career. She has not only succeeded in scoring, but has also been a leader in assists, demonstrating her ability to improve her teammates' performances.
Continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA.
Have you seen how Caitlin Clark has been generating news across all sports media platforms recently? If you haven't seen him, you're missing out on one of the most entertaining basketball players of all time. Caitlin Clark has taken the sports world by storm, becoming a household name for skill, confidence, and game-changing performances. What began as a rising star in the collegiate basketball scene has swiftly evolved into a legend who is transforming the way we think about women's basketball, and she has now managed to humble ESPN journalists in a manner that no one expected.
Howard blocked by Boston. Here comes Caitlin.
For years, ESPN and other sports publications have been chastised for underrepresenting women's sports, notably their coverage of the WNBA. However, Caitlin Clark has not only changed the narrative around women's basketball, but she has also pushed the media to sit up and pay notes in a manner they have never done before. With her on-court domination, fearless demeanor, and large fan following, she has embarrassed big media outlets, pushing them to see the grandeur of women's basketball that they previously disregarded. In doing so, she has propelled the WNBA to a level of notoriety that will permanently change the landscape.
And that's the way to push the ball in transition. Oh, that's not gonna waste much time. Caitlin Clark has
Prior to Caitlin Clark's rise to popularity, the media, especially ESPN, mostly overlooked women's basketball. Their coverage of the WNBA was often scant and limited to off-peak hours, while in-depth analysis and big promotional efforts were mostly kept for men's sports. This neglect was especially evident when it came to players like Clark, whose extraordinary performances and numbers would have made headlines if they had occurred in the men's game. ESPN has an opportunity to get ahead of the curve by seeing Clark's potential early on. Her collegiate accomplishments were nothing short of spectacular. With her ability to score from any position on the floor, her passing range, and her basketball IQ garnering her comparisons to NBA great. However, the conventional sports media was reluctant to respond, often focusing on other issues and downplaying Clark's pioneering achievements.
Game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league.
As Clark's impact expanded, it became clear that she was not receiving the press she deserved. Fans of the game started to wonder why one of the most entertaining players in basketball, male or female, was not getting the respect she plainly deserved. As a consequence, ESPN found itself playing catch-up, attempting to reclaim trust with basketball fans who had already made Caitlin Clark a household name. Caitlin Clark's ascent to popularity started long before the media welcomed her. She dominated college basketball, guiding her team to stunning feats that often left spectators and experts stunned. Clark became a highlight machine thanks to her 40-point performances, ability to shoot from deep, and remarkable talent for finding teammates with beautiful passes.
What's different about winning this a second time?
I think it's a little different. I think the biggest thing for myself is like this is my senior year. It's
Her efforts in the NCAA women's basketball tournament were especially memorable, and it was during these high-stakes games that she fully established herself on a national scale. Clark led the Iowa Hawkeyes far into the tournament, putting up stat lines to match even the finest male athletes. Her aggressive approach to the game, pulling up for shots from far beyond the arc, facing multiple defenders, and producing clutch plays in crunch time, became the focus of the basketball world. Despite the media's slow response, fans were already deeply immersed in Clark's story. Social media became the forum for sharing, dissecting, and admiring her achievements. Videos of her performances went viral, with supporters praising her great skill while lamenting the lack of media attention she was getting.
NBA Player of the Week. Surprise, surprise. Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really.
It all came to a head when Caitlin Clark's name became too prominent to ignore. During her most recent season, Clark delivered a streak of memorable performances. She broke records, guided her team to spectacular triumphs, and secured her legacy as one of the sport's finest players. However, ESPN, which was reluctant to recognize her full significance, continued to understate her accomplishments in their reporting.
Notched the first triple-double ever by a WNBA rookie and the first in Fever franchise history.
This all changed when Clark's fans and the rest of the basketball community decided to take action. The disparity between her performances and the media's lackluster coverage reached a critical point. Fans flooded social media with footage of Clark's highlights, criticizing ESPN for neglecting to give her the recognition she deserved. It became evident that conventional media outlets were out of touch with the basketball community, and ESPN found itself on the losing end of the argument. ESPN's humiliation came when Clark produced a game so dominating that ignoring it became impossible. After another outstanding performance in a nationally broadcast game, ESPN had no option but to give Clark the recognition she had long deserved. However, it was too late. The basketball world was already beyond them, and ESPN's effort to catch up seemed forced and fake.
Can you believe that? It's hard to believe. Well, this is where we land
So Chicago Sky down in 7th place. Indiana Fever.
Caitlin Clark's influence went beyond insulting the media. It also altered the course of the WNBA. Historically, the WNBA has failed to attract the same amount of media attention and fan enthusiasm as its male counterpart, the NBA. This lack of attention created a vicious cycle in which the league was unable to increase its fan base, and the media defended the lack of coverage by citing poor ratings. Clark's ascension has given the WNBA fresh vigor, not only because of her skill, but also because of how she has engaged fans. The media, obliged to recognize her brilliance, began to pay greater attention to the WNBA, and as a result, fans began to pay closer attention to the league as well. Clark's popularity grew, and more people tuned in to see her play, whether as a final-year college student or a prospective WNBA star.
You know, it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches. And, you know, to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
ESPN and other sites, seeing their error in underestimating Clark's power, started to enhance their WNBA coverage, focusing on the league's stars in ways they hadn't before. This change in focus is creating opportunities for other outstanding players in the WNBA, giving them the recognition they deserve and helping to expand the league. Caitlin Clark's presence has altered not just the media's perception of women's basketball, but also how other WNBA players are seen. Clark's leadership has had a knock-on effect, with media outlets now covering other league players more extensively. Players like Aja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu are profiting from the increasing attention as the media recognizes the WNBA's potential as a major sports organization.
45 blocks last year, Clark for 3! Clark, they said she has redefined what a good shot is.
Clark's impact extends to the way the game is played. Her distinctive basketball style, fast-paced, long-range shooting, and high basketball IQ has inspired younger players who see her as a role model. Her confidence and talent on the court have redefined what it means to be a dominating player in women's basketball, and other players are beginning to mimic her approach. In doing so, she contributes to the evolution of the game and raises the standard of play across the league. Caitlin Clark's ascension occurs at a time when the WNBA is poised for expansion. The league's viewership has steadily increased in recent years, and Clark's effect is just speeding up that trend. As more people tune in to see her play, the league is gaining a new generation of fans who are optimistic about the future of women's basketball.
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, you know, be grateful that my team was in that position.
This increase in popularity also results in financial growth. With increased media and fan interest, the WNBA's sponsorship and broadcast contracts are growing more valuable. Brands who were previously reluctant to invest in women's basketball are now recognizing opportunities for expansion, which is helping to raise the league's image. Caitlin Clark's impact will continue to be an important part of the WNBA narrative as it grows. Her ability to captivate fans and command media attention is changing the league's perception, and her sustained success will further strengthen the WNBA's position in the mainstream sports world. Caitlin Clark hasn't simply embarrassed ESPN, she's revolutionized the game. Her ascent to prominence has caused the media to reconsider how it covers women's sports, and as a result, the WNBA has received unprecedented attention. Her impact not only helps the league expand, but also inspires the next generation of basketball players. Clark's impact will be recognized not just for her extraordinary skill, but also for shifting the debate around women's basketball. By demanding the credit she deserves, she has created opportunities for other players and helped propel the sport to new heights. Caitlin Clark's effect has contributed significantly to the WNBA's continued popularity. She has shown that women's basketball is just as interesting, competitive, and deserving of attention as any other sport, permanently altering the landscape of the WNBA. The league's future looks better than ever, and Caitlin Clark is leading the way. The WNBA has always been very competitive, with players putting their heart and soul into every game. But lately, the discussion surrounding the MVP award has reached a fever pitch. Aja Wilson, one of the WNBA's brightest talents, went off on what she sees as a tremendous injustice in the MVP race: Caitlin Clark's rejection of the prize title. What followed was nothing short of explosive, as Aja Wilson launched a rage, sending shockwaves across the WNBA and its fandom.
Kelsey Plum playing Caitlin Clark, no catch, meaning she's not trying to let her get it back.
In this video, we'll explore the events that occurred, including why A'ja Wilson lost her cool and the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rejection. So brace up as we discuss what may be one of the most dramatic moments in WNBA history. To understand why A'ja Wilson's response was so strong, we must first accept her role in the WNBA. Since being selected as the first overall choice by the Las Vegas Aces in 2018, A'ja has been nothing short of exceptional. Her aggressive playing style, ability to dominate in the paint, and leadership characteristics have earned her a household name. Wilson, a two-time MVP and Olympic gold medalist, has constantly been in contention for the league's top honors. Wilson's intense competition and constant desire for achievement distinguish her as a great athlete. However, they also led to her angry response to Caitlin Clark's elimination from the MVP contest. Wilson's aggravation spilled out in a spectacular fashion as he understood the pressure and grandeur of winning the MVP award.
Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has been surging to the forefront of the WNBA discourse. Clark was drafted by the Indiana Fever and joined the league with lofty hopes, and she has not disappointed. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting range, court awareness, and ability to score from nearly anywhere, has made a significant impact in her first season. Many fans and commentators anticipated her not only to win Rookie of the Year, but also to be a strong contender for MVP.
A little step-up action right here.
Austin gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
Clark's ability to perform well under pressure distinguishes her from other athletes. Whether it's hitting three-pointers from beyond the arc or providing clutch assists, she's constantly shown she can carry her team through the most difficult games. Despite this, Caitlin Clark's outstanding accomplishments did not transfer into MVP accolades this season, which has prompted great criticism, particularly among players such as A'ja Wilson.
The WNBA, she's just the fourth player to shoot at least 70% from three-point range on at least 20 three-point attempts.
The WNBA MVP award is one of the most coveted in the league. The award is given to the player regarded most important to their team's success, which is frequently determined by a mix of individual numbers, team performance, and on-court leadership. This year, however, the battle for MVP got acrimonious, with players, fans, and pundits all disputing who should win the title.
Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese.
A'ja Wilson was once again in contention for MVP following another outstanding season. However, many believe that Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, had played at an MVP caliber level, making her a viable contender for the title.
And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But keep your spirits up, because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
You should have seen it coming. Angel Reese, an LSU basketball player, has been in the limelight since her heated interactions with Caitlin Clark. However, what seemed to be a rivalry on the court has rapidly turned into a media storm, with Angel Reese's name making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Reese, who previously basked in the pleasure of guiding her team to success, is now continually entangled in off-court turmoil, and experts are calling her out for it. But is it just about her performance, or is there more to the story? And how has Caitlin Clark's rapid climb shocked everyone, even Reese?
I think so many people are watching women's basketball right now. It all started from the national championship game, and I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. And understanding, like, yeah, negative things have probably been said about me, but honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, like just because of one single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like.
As Reese's emotional outbursts and jealousy grow increasingly obvious, professionals and fans alike begin to see a trend. Angel Reese is obviously skilled, but every time she leaves the court, her behaviors outshine her physical abilities. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is creating history, smashing records, and establishing a new standard in women's basketball. This is a rivalry that has gone beyond athletics, affecting human feelings, racial dynamics, and public opinion. But at the heart of it all, one thing is clear: Angel Reese is failing to keep up, which is harming her reputation.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Caitlin Clark's name has been on everyone's lips since her debut. She drew the attention of basketball fans from the outset, and it wasn't long before her performances in the WNBA were well known. Clark's ability to dominate the floor via shooting, playmaking, and leadership has been nothing short of amazing. In her debut season, she has already broken records, shattered expectations, and received the type of attention that athletes yearn for. What's most astonishing isn't her particular brilliance, but how she's managed to thrive against the obstacles.
I think it's a little different. I think the biggest thing for myself is, like, this is my senior year. You know, it's special being able to celebrate this with my teammates and having them here and preparing for a Final Four game, but you know, it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches, and you know, to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
How do you stay focused when you go to so many things like this?
I think, you know, my main focus is on preparing for a game. I think that's pretty easy for me. I don't think you need much motivation other than you're playing in the Final Four with a trip on the national championship on the line.
Clark was sure to draw attention, even without the extra gasoline of her feud with Reese. This young Iowa star has done more than just play the game. She has transformed the narrative of women's basketball. Clark had already made headlines before taking on Angel Reese, and she was the reason people were tuned in. The limelight followed her, and she handled it with elegance and calm, focusing on what was most important, her performance on the court. As Clark's popularity rose, Angel Reese's frustrations became more obvious, and their antagonism quickly heated up.
Get it! Count it for Clark!
Angel Reese's focus has shifted beyond basketball. While she is clearly skilled and has led her team to tremendous successes, her off-court behavior has prompted concerns about her capacity to deal with the responsibilities of stardom. The rivalry with Caitlin Clark seemed to begin on the court, but it swiftly grew into something more personal. Reese, irritated with Clark's attention, began generating news for all the wrong reasons, including emotional outbursts, jealousy, and frantic efforts to remain relevant.
Single game. And just looking at that, like, I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of us have done so much for this game, and Kennedy has been here before, obviously, but there are so many great players in this league that have deserved this for a really, really long time, and luckily, it's coming now.
Reese's dissatisfaction is reasonable to some degree. Here she is, a player who has worked hard and helped her team win big games, yet an Iowa rookie overshadows her. But every time Reese speaks, it seems like another episode in an unwelcome soap drama. Her desire to be acknowledged, her frequent drama, and her emotional outbursts all point to a player who is unable to cope with the success of others. Unfortunately for Reese, Caitlin Clark is the focus of every news, leaving her to applaud from the sidelines.
Last two whistles for me are very questionable. I love the speed of Caitlin Clark, the push. All right, strip to the free throw line. One thing, though, that we did have an opportunity.
When the experts began pounding Angel Reese, it served as a wake-up call. Stephen A. Smith, Matt Barnes, and Pat McAfee were blunt about Reese's behavior. It wasn't just her on-court abilities. Everyone knew she had them, but her inability to bear the limelight properly. According to Stephen A. Smith, Reese is a fantastic player who has the potential to be a WNBA star, but she is not there yet. And why? Because she allows her emotions and jealousy and wants attention to overpower her skills.
It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for League MVP honors. She ain't beating A'ja Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese, who has a new weekly podcast called Unapologetically Angel. It's part of Playmakers Network of podcasts from Shaquille O'Neal.
Matt Barnes agreed, adding that although Angel Reese is a force to be reckoned with, she is more concerned with making the story about herself rather than allowing her game to speak for itself. Pat McAfee did not mince words when he mentioned the racial dynamics at play. Caitlin Clark, a white girl from Iowa, was receiving all the attention, which irritated Reese, who believed the WNBA was neglecting her accomplishments. However, Clark's success was entirely due to her record-breaking performances and unquestionable skill, not race.
Reese was older, I would have gotten on her about what she just said. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be? But she is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable. It's egregious. It's disgusting. It's wrong. And there's a bunch of punk, no good, you know what's out there on the male and female side.
The racial dimensions that have emerged in this competition cannot be ignored. Caitlin Clark's ascent to prominence has raised debates about racism, privilege, and representation in women's athletics. Some feel that Clark's success is recognized because she is a white player in a largely black league, while others think that her skill speaks for itself, independent of race. Angel Reese, on the other hand, believes that her accomplishments are being disregarded due to Clark's popularity.
But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league in regards to Clark, starting with WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court, and didn't mention the rookie when speaking of Indiana's rise in the standings.
Reese's unhappiness is not wholly unfounded. The WNBA has historically been dominated by black athletes, so seeing a white rookie like Clark come in and grab the limelight is likely to elicit some anger. However, as many experts have pointed out, Clark's success is unrelated to race. It is all about her game. Clark is shattering records, increasing viewership, and attracting people in ways that no one has before. And although Reese may feel overlooked, the attention Clark is receiving is well deserved.
How long were you sitting on the...
Oh, I was waiting.
How long were you sitting on the...
I tell you, I was waiting. Me?
At what point were you waiting to pull out this?
Man.
Kind of the Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is a hell of a
incredible
player for sure. But I don't take disrespect lightly. And she disrespected Alexis and my girls. South Carolina, they still my SEC girls too. Y'all not gonna disrespect them either. So I wanted to pick her pocket, but I had a moment at the end of the game, and I was in my bag. I was in my moment. Yeah.
Angel Reese is battling not just on the court, but also off the court, which has sparked controversy. From dramatic outbursts to frantic efforts to remain in the limelight, Reese has made headlines for all the wrong reasons. One of the most noteworthy occurrences occurred when Kennedy Carter fouled Caitlin Clark during a game. Instead of supporting her teammate, Reese stood on the bench cheering as if she were at a bizarre awards ceremony. The hunger for attention was evident, and it wasn't overlooked.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
Dan Patrick, another well-known sports broadcaster, was unreservedly critical of Reese's behavior. He pointed out that although Reese aspires to be the WNBA's Draymond Green, she is more like Dylan Brooks, a player who wants to be the instigator but ends up being a nuisance. Patrick also said that without Caitlin Clark, Reese would fade into the background since she is only significant when she is linked to Clark's achievement. It's a hard reality, but one that Reese must face if she hopes to leave her legacy.
She would have left it with what she had to say right before the last couple of words. I would have been fine with it. She's embraced the villain. She understands social media. She's done quite well. She is cashed in, literally cashed in. But her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark. Because she wins the national title, first thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark. Then she's played off of that. Even Caitlin Clark getting knocked down in that game on Saturday.
It is becoming more evident that jealousy and envy are at the root of this feud. Angel Reese's behaviors on and off the court imply that she is not just annoyed by Caitlin Clark's success, but also jealous of it. Every time Reese talks, that there's a sense of envy, as if she can't take the fact that Clark is the one everyone is talking about. While Reese is undeniably gifted, her inability to cope with the grandeur of others is proving to be her undoing. Reese's attitude is flawed in that she is focused on Clark's achievement rather than her own. She's always trying to show that she deserves the same attention as Clark, but all she's doing is perpetuating the idea that she's living in his shadow. The more Reese attempts to remain relevant by generating drama, the more she demonstrates that she is not on Clark's level, at least not yet.
Who's standing up applauding but Angel Reese? So she's sort of embraced a Draymond Green role here. But the eyeballs on the WNBA really have to do with Caitlin Clark. Now, you might, if you stay long enough, maybe you'll see something or someone that you go, okay, I'm entertained by this. But there's nothing wrong with admitting that you watch a sport because of one singular person. People watched golf because of Tiger.
One of the most revealing instances in this rivalry occurred during a game when Kennedy Carter fouled Caitlin Clark, and Angel Reese's response screamed volumes. Instead of encouraging her teammate, Reese sat on the sidelines, cheering as if she were praising the drama. It was a moment that showed Reese's need for attention, as she seemed more concerned with stirring the pot than with focusing on the game.
Now, do I think it was assault, as the Chicago Tribune said? No, it was not. It was a hard foul. It's wrong. You don't need it in the game. And there's a lot of things that came out of that. People bringing in race. Okay, you can bring in race. Do I think everybody's jealous of Caitlin Clark? I don't. But I do think they are out to prove a point. You're not coming in and dominating our game because we are grown women and we are going to be physical with you. Now, dirty, then I have a problem with that. But you're playing tough. It's competition.
Experts like Dan Patrick and Stephen A. Smith didn't hesitate to call out Reese for her actions. Patrick pointed out that this was just another example of Reese attempting to insert herself into the narrative, but it only demonstrated how intimidated she was by Clark's success. Stephen A. Smith went even further, claiming that Reese's persistent desire for validation is getting her nowhere, and that her jealousy is becoming more apparent with each game.
WNBA has been around a couple of decades. And people didn't notice the game. They're noticing it now. Well, that's because of Caitlin Clark, not Angel Reese. Angel Reese has played a role in this, and she's a very good player. But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting that is going to translate to people who may not watch the WNBA, may not care about basketball. She is a social media star, and she has capitalized on that. And maybe she embraces being the villain. But make no mistake about it, Caitlin Clark is the reason why everybody has an opinion on what happened in that game. It's Caitlin Clark.
There is no doubt that Angel Reese is a skilled player. She's a steady double-double machine with a dominant rebounding game. But every time she comes onto the court, everyone can think about how she's stepping in Caitlin Clark's footsteps. And it's not just the media stating this. Every statistic, record, and headline shouts it out loud and clear. Reese is excellent, but Clark is exceptional, and that is what is propelling this competition to new heights.
Bentley tips it away and off and running. Caitlin Clark wins the pass, thread the needle by.
Caitlin Clark's freshman season has been nothing short of incredible. She is shattering records left and right, and she has been compared to some of the best basketball players of all time, including Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Meanwhile, Reese is over here trying to keep up, but no matter how many rebounds she gets or how many points, she can't ignore the fact that Clark is the one everyone is watching. Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA cannot be emphasized. She is introducing new fans to the game, increasing viewership, and demonstrating that women's basketball deserves to be regarded seriously. Her performances have garnered national notice, and she is swiftly emerging as the league's face. Clark sets a new benchmark for what is possible every time she takes the court, and people are rushing to watch her.
I think it's a little different. I think the biggest thing for myself is like this is my senior year. You know, it's special being able to celebrate this with my teammates and having them here and preparing for a Final Four game, but you know, it doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches, and you know, to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
How do you stay focused when you go to so many things like this?
I think, you know, my main focus is on preparing for a game. I think that's pretty easy for me. I don't think you need much motivation other than you're playing in the Final Four with a trip on the national championship on the line. So I think
what's perhaps more surprising is how Clark has managed to rise above the controversy. While Angel Reese is immersed in off-court drama and emotional outbursts, Clark is concentrating on her game. She's not interested in the soap opera. She's here to play basketball, which is what makes her such a formidable opponent. Clark's ability to remain cool, collected, and focused distinguishes her and explains why she is stunning the WNBA.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID. And then obviously my sophomore year, we had good crowds. The curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So, yeah. I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
In the end, Angel Reese's emotional outbursts, jealousy, and need for attention are her doom. While she has the potential to be a star, her inability to manage Caitlin Clark's success overshadows all she has done. If Reese wants to leave her legacy, she has to concentrate on her game rather than the drama.
With USA Today again. Caitlin, can you tell us at the end of the game what happened? There's a lot blown up on Twitter about Angel Reese following you around, pointing to her ring finger and taunting you.
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, be grateful that my team was in that position. That's all you can do is, hold your head high, be proud of what you did, and, all the credit in the world to LSU. They were tremendous. They deserve it. They had a tremendous season. Kim Mulkey coached them so well. She's one of the best basketball coaches of all time, and it shows. And she only said really kind things to me in the handshake line, so I'm very grateful for that too. But honestly, I have no idea, and I was just trying to, spend the last few moments on the court with, especially the 5 people that I've started 93 games with, and relishing every second of that.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, continues to soar to new heights, leaving everyone, even Reese, stunned. Clark's ability to dominate on the court, concentrate away from it, and smash records has made her the buzz of the WNBA. And as long as Reese focuses on the drama, she'll be in Clark's shadow, unable to keep up with a player who is actually altering the game.